Yellen shows how clueless she is. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, April the 18th. And, quite the week we saw. Another amazing run in markets. And Yellen shows off her cluelessness of how to operate and run markets. Big investment fraud. All kinds of things going on. And we'll get to all that and more right here on Bubba's Bottom Line. And this segment one here is going to be sponsored by the CTG Group, which is one of our brokerage partners. And, of course, we have other brokers, but CTG is for letter direction traders for futures and commodities. They do an unbelievable job with the products. They also have some great managed futures products, and they've got the best customer service in the industry. So if you want to check them out, you can go to info.ctggroup.com/Bubba. That's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. In the meantime, as we talked about in the opening, which is Janet Yellen. And of course, she's trying to get away from being known as the currency manipulators. Well, we know that what the Fed does, and not just the Fed, but all central banks, when they came off the gold standard, when they came off of any backing, the fiat currencies became probably the most ridiculous markets in the world. And we're seeing continued proof because they are never going to stop printing dollars at this rate. Okay. I mean, this is what we're seeing today in markets. And with all this ridiculous stimulus programs and all of this money that they want to spend, we know who's got to pay for it. The taxpayers, the people that are out working now have to pay for it. In the meantime, people should be working based on what you're seeing at airports, based on what you're seeing in Las Vegas, based on what you're seeing in many places across the country. COVID is gone. Okay, I'm sure it's not gone, but you know what I'm saying? Based on industry, COVID is gone because planes are packed to the gills. Las Vegas is opening to 100% capacity June 1st. I'm assuming other states will be doing the same. So that tells us that people should be back to work. Okay, and we should not be doling out the free stimulus dollars. People should not be making more money to stay home. They should go out and get a job. That's what they should be doing. This stimulus, all these free programs are ridiculous. Okay. Plus the fact that some of the checks go to dead people. Okay. And other checks go to people that don't need it. Okay. That it's so ridiculous that people get it. I mean, my mother gets it. She doesn't need a stimulus check, and she has no business getting one. Okay, so this is beyond the ridiculous. It is moronic. But of course, that shows you that when you become a member of the Federal Reserve, you become a moron. Okay, it's that simple. I mean, this is why the Fed needs to be ended. But that's also why you see the cryptocurrencies going bonkers now. When we started watching it more seriously, the space was 800 billion. Now it's over 2 trillion market cap. And, Bitcoin hit 64,000. Remember that $64,000 question? In the meantime, CNN is falling apart. Their viewership is down 50%. So I guess if they don't have President Trump to kick around every day, they're not going to be in business. And that is, you could laugh about that, but that's a very serious matter for them, okay? Because, it's obviously your ad revenues go down, but of course, who wants to listen to a one-sided network no matter what? Okay, look, I don't like one-sided right. I don't like one-sided left. I like to get the news. Of course, I won't watch it, but people like to get the news. They don't want to be told what to do. And of course, If you thought the Bernie Madoff scam was big, well, guess what? They just found one that may be bigger. Okay. And it was a kid from Singapore, 33 years old, okay, who owes, okay, over $1 billion, okay, was driving, I think, a $5 million car. In the meantime, it was just another Ponzi scheme, and which was creating investments that did not exist. Now, you wonder how that can happen, and you wonder, how people can fall into that trap. Well, again, remember, people are built on hope. You promise them something and you show them a little bit. And listen, elaborate Ponzi schemes are very, very sophisticated and very convincing, especially those that get in early. They do a lot of the work for you. But I urge you, wherever you're going to invest, to make sure you know what you're investing in. And remember this, okay? If it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. So do not fall into these traps. And many have, and very smart people have. Look, again, it's the story. Fortunately, I've never been involved. I've never fallen into it, but it can happen. And it just behooves you. It's your money to make sure you're checking out what's going on. Well, I don't know. We've got more people are working. We've seen reasonable job growth, or recapturing of jobs that were lost. Okay. But there's a but. But there's no way these housing prices should be going bananas the way they're going, even in the state of California. I mean, you're looking for not only more housing and expensive housing, but taxes. I mean, I can understand growth in Texas and some of the tax-free states, Las Vegas, but even in Los Angeles or in California, 20% month over month over last year. I mean, that's a pretty big number. Okay. And, I think that you have to look at, what's going on. And of course, really what this turns out to be is what? It's really a war on cash. Okay. What we're witnessing, okay, and if you go back to the beginning, but what you're witnessing is the Federal Reserve taking apart the dollar piece by piece. All they decided to do now, though, is instead of doing it slowly, they're accelerating the process. I mean, you can say anything you want. You can support them if you want. I'm just telling you that they are stealing our money because they are hiding everything through about inflation or hiding everything through the printing of dollars. And I'm just saying, when you keep printing dollars, okay, you are reducing your values dramatically. And that is a problem that will eventually rear its ugly head. Okay. So, and of course, this is going to lead to a digital currency, either of the US dollar, or I think more likely a digital currency globally. And I think that should scare you. Okay. If you believe in what I say, because that is the scariest thought. Okay. We are basically relinquishing our status as the most powerful number one country in the world. Okay. Bit by bit, piece by piece. Now, I've just seen that Iran has come to a new misunderstanding, or not, excuse me, a new understanding on nuclear weapons in the Vienna nuclear talks. Now, what is that? We're sending them another plane load of cash? Okay. Do you really believe that Iran has any love for the United States and would it hesitate to drop a bomb here? Okay. So are we going to continue to be blackmailed by them? Now think about it. Think about the size of Iran and the power of the United States of America. And yet we're being blackmailed by the fears of what they can do. Now, where in the heck does that make sense? Okay. I mean, you're seeing some of the strangest things happening in this country now. Again, when you open up to tyranny, okay, which I think you're seeing, when you open up to the cancel culture, when you open up to all these things of trying to say we should be equal, when really they're really not creating equality. What they're really doing is they're enhancing the very wealthy. Okay, every policy that is out there right now is not beneficial to the average guy on the street. It benefits big corporate America and big money. Okay, now again, you can argue with that if you choose, but you will find out that I'm right, because if you look at small business, they're being destroyed one at a time. Okay, they're being taken out to the woodshed and getting their crap kicked out. Okay, that's really what we've seen, because you can't find too many small businesses anymore. They've all been destroyed, and every policy you set, okay, can only the big guys can afford them. So you're seeing destruction everywhere. And, at the end of the day, look, I'm not blaming the Biden administration. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm blaming the entire governmental system for the last God knows how many years. But if you go back to Ronald Reagan and remember we know the 4 most dangerous words in the market, right? This time is different. Well, the 9 horrible words you ever want to hear is, I'm here from the government. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help, because they are about as worthless as any human beings can be, because they don't have interest in us, the individuals. They have interest in what they can scam out of our system and destroy the United States of America with all their policies. And again, it doesn't matter. The Republicans, Democrats, they both do the same thing. It's about money, and it's about the money that they can grab onto. So, hey, look, we voted them in, but there's got to be some change. But you can already see the potential of a civil or revolutionary war building all over the country, with all of what we're looking at, some of the hate crimes. Okay, now there was a BLM hate crime against Asians. Again, look, I don't support any of it. I think, why can't we all get along? But obviously, it's a problem, and I think a lot of the problem is being created by some of the governmental policies, and I think it's almost being done intentionally. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horowitz. This is Sunday, April the 18th, and we're going to step out of a break, and we'll be back with our market recap and update when we get back from the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. Well, we talked to you about CTG, about the opening, and of course our other brokerage partner. And again, I remind you, I have other brokers. But our other brokerage partner is Tradier, and Tradier brokerage for stocks, options, equities. Unbelievable. Okay. First of all, again, I always go to the simple answer, $10 a month. How can you pass up on $10 a month? I mean, again, it saves me a fortune. Okay. And it could save you as well. And they've got great customer service. They've got some great platforms. Plus, the biggest thing on top of that is, if you like our programs, especially our equity portfolio programs or our hedging, they can be automated at no cost to you. Okay, they are part of your membership when you become a member. That's Tradier brokerage. And our friends at Family Farms, we're so excited to be partners with them, because it has always been my goal. The only reason I got involved in this part of the industry was to help farmers protect themselves against many of the bad things that happen, and of course against many of the bad people that are out there. We know in every industry there are scammers. So I want to make sure that we help our farmers, which is the core of our country, or at least was. But we want to make sure, because they're too busy working long hours, let's make sure they don't get screwed at the same time. And of course, our commodity report, written by Andy Hecht. What can I tell you? I mean, there's no report like it. Okay, it is by far the most comprehensive. If you're a commodities trader, there is nothing like. Check them out. You can check it out at BUBBATrading.com. And of course, our high school program at Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. That's patreon.com/Bubba Trading. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horowitz. Welcome back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, April the 18th. Okay. And, by the way, we did our webinar yesterday. If you want to check it out and I can send you the recording, just shoot me an email, bob@bubbatrading.com. The market update will be brought to you by our friends at Trade Your Brokerage. And of course, Trade Your. We have other brokers, but we said in the break, $10 a month. I mean, you can't beat that. And of course, we have their API so we can automate your portfolio if you want at no additional cost. So in the meantime, what do we got going on here? Well, the markets are going to Pluto. They're never going down again. Okay. Never, ever, ever. I mean, it's amazing, but that's how it feels. But we know that markets do this, and this is not something that's never happened before. Okay. It is a function of markets, and we are in, a bubble territory. We are in, we are being driven by cheap money because, again, money will go where it's treated best. And the only real yield right now is the equity market. Now, the 10-year was putting some pressure on it, but suddenly, now again, the 10-year is still very, very close to causing a lot of heartburn. And I don't know that the bond traders have given up yet against fighting against the Federal Reserve. So we'll see how it plays out. But in the meantime, we're long the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ, which made a new high. And we are short the Russell still, but I'm assuming we will be changing. And I think the Russell is at a very key point. Okay, it looks like, if you look at the chart, it looks like the NASDAQ did about 2 weeks ago. It had to make a decision which way it was going to go. It looks to me it probably wants to go higher. I mean, again, I'm not going to say it, we're short, but I would suspect it's going to join the party because money's keeping, their money is flowing in from all angles, flooding the markets, trying to get as much. And of course, I sat in a card game playing poker in Vegas. And the guy was telling me how easy trading is. I go, okay, well, that's always a warning sign. Just a note, point in fact. So metals have become mixed. We have now reversed gold. So after being short since January the 7th, we have now reversed gold. And we are now long gold. And, look, at the end of the day, we will be what we will be. And again, I don't argue what the markets tell me. I have nothing against gold. I always own physical. That's a given. So, and silver is still short, as is platinum, but we don't trade platinum anymore. It would be on a short signal still. Bonds and notes. Now they had a positive week last week, and of course the bonds, the treasuries, we reversed those on Friday. Okay. The 10-years did not reverse yet, and probably are still a couple days away of rallying. And again, this is where we're going to see what's going to happen here if there's going to be a continued battle or not. But in the meantime, so we're long the 30, short the 10. That's actually a spread called the knob, notes over bonds. But anyway, and of course, in the dollar, we are short dollars, and listen, they're just crapping on the dollar, and it looks like they're going to continue to do so until another world currency decides their turn to manipulate. Remember, and I thought it was laughable when President Trump said it, okay, that China is currency manipulators. Well, what is everybody else? They're all currency manipulators. Okay. How do you think they fund their programs? Okay. They're all currency manipulators. In the meantime, crude, we're back to the long side of crude oil. Again, it had its moments, but it never really broke, get down to 58-ish. Okay. But it then just popped right back up. And again, when you give OPEC the keys to the car and say, hey, charge us whatever you want, well, we're going to see. We're going to see how damaging this can be. But, we are now long. Okay. Copper's been a tough trade for us recently. It's been chopping and consolidation, which is the worst market for trend trading. But copper, we're short. We had an up week. And, again, it's been extremely treacherous at the moment. Net gas higher, we're still long. Okay, so again, in the general markets, we were holding pretty much the same positions. We had a few reversals. We actually had one of our biggest reversal days ever on Thursday. With a number of reversals. And of course, if we look in the grain markets, grains look good. They're all right now at resistance levels. But I mean, they're all in bull market states. They're all in good looking, solid, like they could break out. But every one of them, after getting clobbered again on Monday, managed to rally back. Okay. So, look, we're long, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think you just got to remember, okay, that let the trends play and don't try to figure out when it's going to end because nobody knows. And on the other side, turn that upside down and you got the meats now. The meats have broken down. Now, I don't think it's going to be that serious, but it's serious enough that we're short across the board now. We were long across the board, and now we're short fats, feeders, and hogs. Okay. Now, I'm not a big fan of being short here. I believe we're going to see some action to the upside. But again, I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to tell you to buy them. I'm short. Okay. That's just, again, I'm going to follow the trends. And in the softs, cotton, we're short. It was down for the week slightly. OJ, we're short, was down for the week slightly. Coffee, we had reversed now. We are now long coffee. Sugar is long. Okay. And it had an up week, and cocoa, we are short, and it still had a slightly up week. So it was an okay week. Our portfolios did fine. Okay. They made money. But at the end of the day, again, the markets are the markets. And when you finally realize that, you're putting yourself in a much better position. And of course, the crypto space exploding now with well over 2 trillion market cap and going higher. And again, Doggy Coin, now that was one that was known as a scam just not that long ago. And now all of a sudden it's making new highs. Now, I can't tell you which ones are going to be real. I would suspect Bitcoin and Ethereum are. Okay. Litecoin, some of the main names are probably. I own some, and I've gambled on some, looking for the next Bitcoin, so to speak. But we'll see. It's a real space. It's going to be here, and it's going to last. Okay, that much I will say, because people are tired of the Federal Reserve and central banks around the world taking money away from them by printing more of it. This is Bubba's Bottom Line Top Up Awards for Sunday, April the 18th. We're going to step out for a break, and we'll be back with my commentary at right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. Well, kids, of course, we mentioned Trader was our sponsor, and of course, our other brokerage partner, the CTD Group. Again, they do our letter of direction trading for our futures and commodities. Excuse me. They're the only ones who are authorized to do so. They do a great job. They do mine. Listen, I've got all my portfolios that they trade for me automatically, and I could trade earlier, but I let them do it all. They've got some great managed futures products. You want to check them out? info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba Trading. That's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. Okay. And of course, Family Farms, they're such a great organization. I can't wait. I'm so excited that the economy is opening up and we'll get out and get to see the farmers. And of course, they have a July event I can't wait to go to either. Finally, it's been so long since I've been in person. I'm looking forward to for those of you guys watching, I'm looking forward to the Calcutta. And of course, our commodity report written by Andy Hecht. Listen, he writes for Bar Chart. He writes for Seeking Alpha. Top writer at both. he writes about commodities every single day. Check it out. Go to BUBBATrading.com, Technomental. And of course, our high school program at Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. That's patreon.com/Bubba Trading. Let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line for this Sunday, April the 18th, and my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. And of course, every week I give you something of what I'm thinking about. And, look, this week, there's so much talk about the markets and how they're never coming down again. And listen, I'm not predicting, and I will not predict. You will always get full disclosure of my positions. But I am seeing a number of warning signs. And as I mentioned, during this show today, I had a guy yesterday I played cards with, poker in Las Vegas, who was telling me how easy it is to make money in the market now. And of course, I deal with a lot of other people that, of course, my guy is the greatest. We're all the greatest. And that is only a warning sign. It does not tell you when it's going to happen. But the real question is so far, the buy the dip mentality has worked every single time. But what do we do when the markets do go in the free fall? And someday they will. Again, I don't know when it's going to happen. My words to you, or my words of wisdom to you, are just, look, be careful. Okay? And don't be overly exposed. Don't be overly leveraged to any market, especially now, because if we continue to go higher, we will go higher at a slow pace. When it decides, and no, again, I don't know when that'll be, but when it decides, and we go into a free fall type of environment like last year, COVID, you don't want to get caught holding the bag. This is the time. It's going to take your discipline. This is the time it's going to take your rule following and say, hey, look, I want to participate. I want to make money, but I know the overall exposure and the risk. And as long as you know that, you'll be in much better shape. Again, what I don't want to see is what happened in the 90s with the internet bubble. Everybody made so much money and they lost it all back. And then, of course, the tax bill came due for what they made the year before. So just be careful. That's all I can say is please be careful out there, because we will see some treacherous moves. Volatility is at 16, the index, but it's probably trading at 8, which is overly complacent. So we'll see. Just bottom line, be prepared for everything and don't let your emotions overtake you and force you to get too over leveraged to the market. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Everybody have a great weekend. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to check it out.